Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today.
Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace.
You might say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
So with bacteria, we were talking about billions of years, and with human societies, we're talking about tens of thousands, or maybe even hundreds of thousands of years. What do you see as a time frame now? And
We're in decades.
Pardon?
Now we're in decades.
Decades. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're one of the really shocking things about global warming was that scientists had no idea it could happen as fast as it is. And I would urge everybody, you know, to do something that makes their hearts sing, or nobody will want to do it with you. And find a way to build local community, especially self-sufficiency. We can't depend on governments to save us. There are no saviors. We are the ones we've been waiting for, as they say nowadays. That's very true. And it's our ability to wake up, to see the oneness, to love each other, to build community, and I like to say to young people, all you have to do is stop doing the stupid things your elders did. You know, you don't have to do debt money. You don't have to do racism. You don't have to do material consumption competition. Treat each other the way you want people to treat each other in the future. Develop the kind of money system you think would work well in the future, and just do it. Never mind what the rest of the world is doing. Just live the future you want. That's how you create it. In Spain, we have the Mondragon cooperatives, which were started 30 or 40 years ago by a Catholic priest in the Basque country up near Bilbao on the northern Atlantic coast of Spain. And he said, I don't want communism or capitalism. I want a society that's based on loving human relationships. And he went around in bars and wherever he could find young people and set them that challenge. You know, how would you create such a society? And got a lot of ideas. And then they built it as an industrial cooperative. And it now has over 200 or 300 businesses. A couple of them have gone out of business because of the recession, which affects everyone. But on the whole, they're doing far better than the rest of Spain in this recession, because they take care of each other. No one can earn more than 6 times the lowest salary. Everyone is employed. If a business closes down, other employment is found for the people. And, you know, they've learned how important community is. So we do have good examples.
Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can.
every cell has an individuality and has to meet its own needs and can negotiate for those needs. However, not independently of the organ it belongs to. So I like to talk about, say, a couple is a holarchy of two levels. The one level is the two individuals, and the second level is couplehood. And if you're trying to decide whether to go to the movies or the opera on Friday night, couplehood, to which the finances belong, may argue against going to the opera. So it's not just an argument between the two individuals, but a holarchic negotiation between levels. And that's what happens in your body. And it's that self-interest at every level, when negotiated, that makes for a viable, complex community. And that's what we need to learn here, that you can't sacrifice the individual to the community or the community to the individual. And for me, the wonderful thing about evolution biology is seeing that over 4 billion years of linear time, this maturation cycle from the youthful creative hostilities into the mature sustainability has happened again and again and again. So it's just our turn now. The ancient bacteria did it without benefit of brain, and in doing so formed the big cooperatives that became the cells we're made of, the nucleated cells. And then those, for another billion years, since they were new on the planet, had to go through their own youthful hostilities and creativity before they formed multicelled creatures. So those are the two biggest steps in evolution prior to us. And then we as humans at the tribal level got it when we formed the first cities as cooperatives. And they were cooperatives as markets and as information exchange centers and as centers of worship. And we're only now digging them up archaeologically up in the Orkneys, in the Amazon, in the Middle East, in all kinds of places. But those cities were then new on the planet, so they too had to go through their youth. And they went into empire building. And we're now in the third phase of empire building. In the first phase, we built empires that were acquisitive and, gathered territory and people and were ruled by actual emperors or kings. And then we went into national empires, and now we're in corporate empires. And we've reached the limits now of the planet, so that we now have to go into that same sustainable cooperation at a planetary level. And we've been practicing it at local levels. The United States of America is a cooperative. The European Union is, NATO is, even the oil cartel of big companies after World War II was showing the benefits of cooperation. And that the transition into maturity, the phase at which you shift from competition to cooperation, is always when there's a recognition that it's become too expensive to continue to compete, that it's more energy efficient, less costly to cooperate than to compete. And as soon as you start cooperating, you realize, oh my God, now we've got all these resources freed up that were so expensive in keeping each other at bay and trying to climb to the top of the mountain over everybody else and things like that. So it's such a natural process that I can't believe we won't get through it.
One love, one heart. Let's
I saw on the news the other night that the 80 richest people in the world, their wealth equals that of the 3.5 billion poorest.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some other statistics along those lines. But there's this vast inequity in wealth in the world. And so from your perspective, as an evolution biologist, and perhaps with examples from other living systems, what does this tell us? And how sustainable is that sort of inequity?
Well, clearly it's an unsustainable inequity. It doesn't happen in nature and last. And people like Arnold Toynbee, who was the first to really look at human civilizations that flourished and then failed, identified as the leading factors in their failure the inequitable distribution of wealth and the inflexibility of refusal to change when change was called for. And those are the two things that we're seeing now, that those in charge are being fairly inflexible and trying very hard to hold on to their inequitable wealth. So that just says this civilization has reached its limits. And once, when they coined the word sustainability and it got around, or unsustainability, I was thrilled because now we can name it. And what does unsustainability mean? It means can't go on. And that implies must be changed. So we do have to change at fundamental levels, but I think that fundamental change will come from local people, from individuals who wake up, and from local communities that begin to live in the way they feel awakened people should live with each other.
And so you mentioned that we're probably in an adolescent phase. I don't know how far in. Maybe do you see us as kind of just on the way out of it now and into adulthood? We're getting close.
Very much. I think we're really on the brink of maturity, and that a lot of people have already reached that maturity and have already built local community to a high degree, as a couple examples I gave. And the rest of us, we're very close to a tipping point, I think.
Good. Oh, that's an exciting phrase, tipping point. I mean, tipping point implies very abrupt change, and so.
Well, locally, for instance, wherever there's been a flood or a tsunami or a hurricane or whatever, the tipping point has occurred that quickly, where you flip from competition into cooperation because the disaster pushes you. And I sometimes say, well, even though we have these minds that could act proactively, maybe we too, like other species, have to be pushed into our adulthood. And it'll be a combination of both. Some of us are already working proactively, and others will be pushed in that direction. Yes. But I think it's inevitable. Grow up or die.
Yeah, hopefully grow up.
And, we are like imaginal cells in a caterpillar. We are linking up all over the world. We have this wonderful good side of technology that enables us to link up this way. And as I said before, make sure you're doing something that you love doing that will make a better world, and just start to live it.
That's
As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end.
Así besó branches grow bitter, there ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. We got one love, one love, one heart, one heart. So let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright.
Masihlangane, sibe munye.